Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Lou, Rex, Pam Ray, Naomi, Afaciana, Babbler, Monarch Soul, Jojo, Grey Eyes, fill my eyes. Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shit, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whispering the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the park, sink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. In the yard of seduction, walks soft through the smoke, silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen up the ache. Gets a voice, pain stands up street and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, go hunt the fear, that thing when no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart, and rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. There's a pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel, this is breath to the backbone, ink with the crown, live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom, the line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark, a room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. slips past polite. We tell the truth. LNP, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twisted Tuesdays with the Twisted Sisters. And you never know, maybe a Twisted Mister or two. I hope everyone's having a good week so far, and I hope you have an even better one to follow. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Jean, how's it going?
Oh, it's going just peachy. How's by you?
It's going somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Always looking forward to hanging out with you and other cool poets and, getting into the poetry. But I have to say that it has been a somewhat productive indoor day. Nothing real exciting, just some getting laundry done and doing just a little bit of cooking and it's all good. I'm just a little restless to be able to get outside and go for walks.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. It's it's been an okay day here. Weather's not too bad temperature wise, but boy oh boy, the humidity is kicking up bad. I don't like it.
Oh, I get that.
Yes. So how about your weather? Hot?
Oh, yes. We got up to 92 today, which is hot for this area, and we're down to 81 now. And we also have the humidity, but what doesn't help is that I'm one of the apartments that's closest to the laundry room. So whenever anybody's doing laundry, it seems like it's just really difficult to make the apartment comfortable.
Right.
Um, I have my air conditioner down to like 64, which I don't want to even see next
Right.
month's bill. Um,
Right.
but the apartment
I
is
get
still
that.
sitting at 75 degrees. So,
Yeah. Well, this says we hit 95 today. I didn't think it felt quite that warm when I opened the door, but the humidity was awful. And we're supposed
yeah,
to have a low of 74 overnight. I can deal with that.
I can too. I absolutely. That's very similar to us. We're supposed to have that low of 72 somewhere at 4 in the morning when hopefully I'll be asleep, comfortable, you know.
Right. Well, Robbie says his weather is like, wherever it went, weather here is a hellscape. But he's got some kind of
Oh my
fire,
gosh.
some kind of a forest fire or something nearby, and so he's
Yep.
dealing with that. I don't know, Yumpy. What's your weather? I know you're not far from me, so. Oh, he says it's hovering around 104 degrees. Robbie did. That's pretty toasty. Pretty
Oh yeah. Oh
toasty.
wow. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Robbie sent me a couple of pictures he took with his phone, and I have to say he's right. Like when he sent them to me, I was like, that looks like it comes from a sci-fi film.
Mhm.
Like that's just how odd looking the sky was and the
Right.
sun. Yep.
Yumpy says his high is still 78, and tomorrow will be 92. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm not
So
looking at
that's
tomorrow. We all know the sun will come out tomorrow. Hopefully, not too blazing. But yes. And
oh my gosh.
before I forget, I want to make sure I say there is no Parts In or Parts Sing tonight. Robbie's not available, and Ephaziana is not feeling well, so she has opted to cancel until next week. So just so everyone who might be thinking about listening in, there's not going to be a show. So I just want to let everybody know. So that is it. That was it for my news flash, and that concludes our weather report for today. So
Well, there you go.
good as it gets.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us about the show tonight, Pam.
All right. Well, tonight, we've got, I believe, about 18 rights on the board. We have, or 19. We have 17 entries in the contest. One I did not get permission for, but still, it's a decent board. And I put up a contest with the artwork of Susumu Yamaguchi. It was a Japanese artist, born January 25th, 1897, in the Kamiya district of Japan, and died November 25th, 1983, at the age of 86 in Ina, Japan. Um, I was really drawn to his landscapes, especially his mountain landscapes and bare trees, and to his use of what almost seemed both peaceful and desolate at the same time, and such wonderful use of colors. He was actually renowned for his dramatic mountain landscape and contributions to modern Japanese woodblock printing. His artwork was actually featured in the art competition in the 1932 Summer Olympics, because that was back when they used to have art as one of the events in the Olympics. And he did not place in the top 3, but I still think that's interesting. As a boy, he taught himself woodblock printing. In 1920, he moved to Tokyo, where he studied Western style painting under Kuroda Saiki. And at the Ayabashi Western Painting Institute, he also worked as a school watchman before becoming a school counselor and high school art teacher. He worked in a variety of media, oil painting, watercolors, cartoons, and print. From 1920, he was accepted into the Creative Print Association. His work was featured in the Paris exhibition of 1934, where 49 of his prints were selected, leading him to specialize in woodblock prints. He is known for his dense, rich color. He often used water-based inks and experimented with techniques such as scratching wood to expose its grain. His mountain scenes, while sharing some similarities with his friend Ezeki Umataro, are described as more forbidding. And I get that because he doesn't really include like too many people in his artwork. Like a lot of it is the mountain scenes or the tree scenes. And as we go through tonight's poetry and you take a look at the artwork in the contest, and you take a look at his artwork, you'll see that there's kind of this sense of distance. And a lot of the trees he painted weren't trees with leaves on them. And so I can definitely see how there is this kind of forbidding, I would even say foreboding might be the right word. But also for his legacy, Yamaguchi's mountain prints gained international popularity, especially after being featured in Statler's Modern Japanese Prints in Art Reborn 1956. His work is celebrated for its emotional intensity, technical mastery, and deep connection to Japan's natural landscape. He actually, where he grew up was right next to the mountains, and so that's why the mountains became such an important part of his life and his artwork. But what does surprise me is I tried to look something up on him, like on YouTube, so I could watch a video or two. The only video I could find was of someone presenting a book they had of his prints. And they weren't talking, they were just flipping through the book. And it was nice to watch because I saw some of the prints that I didn't have in my contest. So it was nice to watch, but unfortunately, it seems that as far as videos go, there's not a lot of information out there. So, but like I said earlier, always I'm looking forward to tonight's poetry and, delving into it. I think it's going to be a wonderful show.
Well, there you go. It sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. It's always a learning adventure. And hello, Jeff. Welcome to the party. Okay, well, I guess I'll put up this first poem. This first poem is called Unexpected Dreams by Ed Hunter. And Pam, I'll let you kick us off.
All right. Sounds good to me. Let me just finish typing hi, Jeff. And I could have just said that out loud, but I was already typing. But all right. Unexpected Dreams by Ed Hunter. Her life stood staring into the hemisphere with watery eyes, thorns and sticks shivering in a blackened sky, waiting through the works of decaying love, roses that never bothered to bloom on the warmest spring day become a disgusting waste, biting her fingernails, sweat spilling down her neck. I wait with wonder in the darkest dreams on a lonely night. The nightingale sings in the forest where love mingles alone. Death ran down my mouth like a rat laughing in shame. It's closing time for the ragged band of lonely humans. Kindness and love were once the center, fielder down south. What is left are unexpected dreams. End poem.
Nice. Nice read, Pam. I thought this was a nice take on that prompt. Uh, he definitely stepped out of the box. He looked at the image and he came up with something completely his own. And I like that. Um, her life stood staring into the hemisphere with watery eyes, thorns and sticks shivering in a blackened sky, waiting through the works of decaying love. Roses that never bothered to bloom on the warmest spring day become disgusting waste. I mean, it was good imagery throughout, and I thought it was, as I said, a good take on the prompt, but he made it his own, and I thought that was pretty clever. So nice job, Ed, and thanks for sharing with us tonight. Well done.
Oh, absolutely. I have to agree. And he definitely stepped out of the box and made it all his own. And wonderful comment there, Jean. I like the imagery in this. I can see how with the black um, background with the dancing figures, how it does have a kind of a dark look, and I can see how it would draw somebody in that direction of writing something dark. Um, you can tell this is a wood print because you can see the grain of the wood, and to think of the time and the detail put into that. Um, I I really thought this had strong visceral imagery, and what's interesting to me is that he focuses, like, there's 5 different women that you can see dancing in this image, and I don't know what the dance is called. I don't know enough about Japanese culture to know what the specific dances are, and I don't even know if I'd actually recognize it in the painting. Probably something I should need to do a little more research on. I will say I am very happy he did not use the word geisha. Every time I put up some beautiful Japanese art and there's a picture of a woman, I think, oh God, and I know it's, the thing is with, I get that geisha is a part of Japanese history and Japanese culture, but I just feel like there's so much more to it. And I admit I'm limited in my knowledge, but I feel there's so much more to it that anytime I put up a painting or artwork that has a Japanese woman, I think for sure somebody's going to put the word geisha in their poem. It's just a dang given. But thank you to Ed for not doing that. But yeah, definitely strong imagery. But I digress. And what I was saying is that there's all these different women, and yet he says she, and by him saying she and not them, it allows to point out the individuality of each woman. So excellent, right, and very well done.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Nice, nice comment, Pam. I'm supposed to do something. I remember now. Okay. No, gotta pay attention over here. Okay, and this next piece that I'm going to put up is called Scales by Babbler. And I guess I'll give it a read, huh, Pam? Okay. A random man who was a friend of a relative I don't recall told me massive carp live in the Great Lakes. Carp grow to fit the size of their environment. Wee little carplings circling the bowl, chasing redtails, looking for another lonely soul. Red and white, black and orange, calico cat turned fish, touring a man-made lake, sucking on pennies, another wasted wish. How large would they get in the pool? I imagine a koi the size of a manatee, swimming next to me, tickling the back of my knees with whiskers. Vivid tangerine Volkswagens nudging beneath yachts, slowly becoming feral, turning wild, escaping from places that are not. End poem.
Great read there, Jean. This is an amazing write by Babbler. Great inspiration taken by the chosen artwork, which is fish being held in a net. I like how she looks at the simplicity of the artwork and sees a bigger picture. That first stanza totally makes me think of my family when we'd have family get-togethers and everybody be bringing friends over, and like a random man who was a friend of a relative I don't recall. I mean, that really made me smile. And yes, carp and catfish, and there's really quite a bit in the Great Lakes region, and even what you would consider smaller lakes. There can be some big fish. Like muskie can get up to like about 6 feet long. And I like though how she takes that idea of the carp growing to fit its environment and makes us look at the idea of what happens when you put a person in an environment where their potential is limited, and what happens if you put them in an environment where their potential is allowed to grow. And yeah, I thought there were great lines throughout, but besides that first stanza, I also liked how large would they get in a pool. I imagine a koi the size of a manatee swimming next to me, tickling the back of my feet with whiskers. I that just is such it's both thought provoking. This poem is both thought provoking and smile inducing, and I enjoy that. Very well done.
Right, right. I thought this was a nice poem. A clever take on the prompt. Nice rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme was on again, off again, and I liked that about it. There were some humorous lines in here that I kind of leaned towards, and I thought it was enjoyable. And of course, I picked up this first stanza, well, this stanza and the next. How large would they get in a pool? I imagine a koi the size of a manatee. Now that's a sight in my mind. Swimming next to me, tickling the back of my knees with whiskers. And then vivid tangerine Volkswagens nudging beneath yachts, slowly becoming feral, turning wild, escaping from places that are not. Just the idea of a koi the size of a manatee, but they do grow to the size that they're allowed, and but still that's pretty big. And tangerine Volkswagens, I mean, that's kind of another humorous thought in my mind. I mean, it's a pretty big fish, but
Right.
So nice work, and thank you for sharing with us, Babbler. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. I have to say personally, I probably would not get into a pool that had a koi the size of a manatee.
Well, you're
Um,
lucky if you find it
I
before you
yeah,
get.
I'd be interested in watching it, but I don't think I'd get in it.
Yeah, well, it would probably just swallow you whole anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
or close to it. Ah, my goodness. Okay. Well, the next piece I'm going to put up is called Caught in a Net by Way Down Upon Joy. So here we go. I guess it's on.
All right. how how free we felt within the stream of life and liberty, and all the times we never dreamed of such fragility. So now I see you eye to eye and hear you gasp for breath. It seems, my friend, that you and I are facing certain death. We're wonders world we are wonders world caught up in change, digestion's chosen fare. I'll see you on the other side as liberated prayer and poem.
That is a clever take on that prompt. I must say that. I'm looking down here. In Buddhism, caught in a net symbolizes the struggle of an individual ensnared by the deceptive allure of worldly attachments, akin to a man trapped by water deities, illustrating the need for awareness and liberation from such entrapments. How clever is that? Well, thanks for that tidbit there, Joy. I appreciate it. You know, I learn something every day, even if it is how to tie my shoes. Um, you know, I, I like I like the poem, and I think it's very clever and well done. How free we felt within the stream of life and liberty, and all the times we never dreamed of such fragility. So now I see you eye to eye and hear you gasp for breath. It seems, my friend, that you and I are facing certain death. Um, it definitely, the picture itself is not, bright and cheerful and sunny. It comes off as a darker image because, of the colors used in it. So I could see where you come up with something to this effect. It's not something just all pretty and, frilly and, big, pretty, you know, um, fins and all of that in it. It definitely hits the notes, and I think it was just a clever and well done piece. It's a nice job, Joy. Appreciate it. Nice share.
Oh, I have to agree. I have to agree. Wonderful comment. Yeah, the darker colors in the picture, and I think the content too really lends itself well to symbolism. This brevity has wonderful rhyme and flow. Great use of I don't know, personification and symbolism, and I like how it does have that. Like I think even with her an, you could see not the maybe the exact idea. I think it's open to interpretation, but you can see the idea of people being trapped together, facing the uncertainty of of death coming, but well, the certainty of death, but the awareness that life is very fragile, the idea that unfortunately when it comes to greed, when it comes to the appetites of those who are in power, there are those who get caught up in the net, who are the ones that have to face the consequences for other people's decisions. And I think this had great lines throughout and was very well done by Way Down Upon Joy.
Hmm. Absolutely.
I was actually surprised to see how many people wrote to the fish prompt.
Yeah.
Um, and I have to say, I was really pleased with the responses that we got. So Nice.
Right. Okay, now this next piece. Well, let's see if I can find the room. This is called Flying Titus by Alka F. And I have an audio for this one. And let me hit the button.
In her dreams, the eye locker, she downgraded there alone. This time, the cage wasn't that bad, not at all. It had those flying thingies, so tempting. So clumsily slurping each and every one, smellies adjourned. She almost felt her stripes relocating, with no suffer seizures poked her barbed thighs. Ablution was nearly there. She couldn't resist. Purring has already lazily started. Resentful trilling was on its way, only milliseconds behind. Sharp memory of that last delicious alien meat, almost excruciating. Chirping and growling, eventually followed by tiny little hiss, all at once. Internal marauders of hers acted like they never tried before to reunite that strong and gingerly tinged glory of voices. Them forth flying again.
Great right here, Olga. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. Just a reminder, everyone, if you're unable to call in, the next best thing is to make a recording of your poem, because then we get to hear your poetry in your voice or how you would like it to be presented. And Jean, your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was a nice piece and a good take on the prompt. Also, a good nod to his cat. You know, I thought it was clever. Let me see. In her dreamy eye locker, she downgraded there alone. This time the cage wasn't that bad. Not at all. It had those flying thingies. So tempting. All I could picture was those feather toys for cats on a stick with a string. And then she talks about it. She almost felt her stripes relocating. I thought that was kind of interesting. Seizures poked her barbed thighs. Ablution was nearly there. That I'm not sure where they came to, because then it got under where she was chasing the bird, and I thought that was pretty clever. So yeah, I thought it was pretty clever all the way through and nicely done. So thank you for sharing with us, Olka F.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Jean. Yeah, I really enjoyed, like, I have to say, the choice of music, the fact that this was a poem written about a cat, and it kind of had that swaying jazz Latin type rhythm to it, really put a smile on my face. I am curious. I'm so curious about the name because I always think of Titus as a male name. Um, so I'm curious how he ended up choosing that name. But I like it. I like the name Titus for a cat. It sounds dignified. Um, but this makes me think there's a series of books, and I can't remember who the author is, but they're like mystery books that involve a cat, and it's like the cat that came to dinner or the cat that did this. Like all the books in the series is the cat. Um,
Right.
and that's what, between the music and the fact that this is about his cat, I don't know why I just connected it with that. um i I
Well,
really like how he shows the personality of his cat, especially what seems to be the beginning, seems to be about the kitten stage. And especially with it has those flying thingies so tempting, so clumsily slurping each and every one smellies adorned. She almost felt her stripes relocating. I mean, it feels to me like the idea of like an animal being in a new environment for the first time, and how they're so skittish and they're so nervous, and they hide under the bed for the longest time. I've had several cats throughout my lifetime, and one that we had, even I, like, it was a wild cat. I had actually found it when we went to the uh, county fair one year, and I managed to get it home. And after I got it home, it pretty much just hid the whole time. Like, I was the only one who could get it out, and even if I tried to grab it, I would get scratched up. It would not even come to the anybody else in the household. And what it's fascinating to me how each cat has its own individual personality, and he definitely brings forth the personality of Titus the cat. And really, really great lines throughout. But I did especially like chirping and growling, eventually followed by tiny little hiss all at once. International marauders of hers acted like they never tried before. Those are just wonderful lines, and very well done. The chirping sound makes me think of the noises that a Siamese cat would make, though the description doesn't make me think of a Siamese cat. But wonderful, right? And very well done by Olka F.
it's funny because I thought that when I read chirping, I thought of the bird that it was chasing. So I just
Oh,
automatically thought that they were rustling around.
oh, there you go. That makes much more sense. Okay,
Well, it depends on how you look at it. So doesn't
absolutely.
mean I'm right. So anywho,
Right, but it definitely makes sense. Yep.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, this next piece I'm going to put up is called Concord by Becky Upchurch. Day motions, night comes, grows itself as on a vine, begins to seep inside its deep purple skin. A merlot, a moondrop, in agreement juices. The night readies for light, as parts of each other are so sweet. What is visibly illuminated, yet weightless, is but light, and we can lose perspective, see it differently, see it wave darker violets and reds, or stay in light, see spectrums, see trees, mountains, and vines, as you reaching in concordance with grapes hanging dark in the bright sun. End poem.
Great read there, Jean. This is beautifully written. Um, what appears to be a vignette by Becky Upchurch. I'm so glad she was inspired. What lovely imagery and metaphors taken from this beautifully simple yet engaging artwork of grapes hanging on the vine. I like that there's some nice, gentle use of alliteration with a moondrop, um, and I don't know, just it feels like it speaks on the beauty of life, the sweetness of life, and also the idea. Like I feel like within the right, there's this metaphor showing us that oftentimes people are like fruit, like these grapes. You can't always judge by the outside skin. There's oftentimes this sweetness within, and I think this is wonderful all the way through. And I have to say, I have the feeling that you've chosen the second part, Jean. And so therefore, I'm going to choose the second part.
Sure.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I do think this is beautiful all the way through. And I really like, though, where it says, and we can lose perspective, see it differently, see it wave darker violets and reds, or stay in light, see spectrums, see trees, mountains, and vines. Wonderful lines on how our mindset can change our perspective. Beautifully written and very well done by Becky Upchurch.
Right, right. I thought this was nicely penned piece by Becky as well. And it was a great take on that prompt. You look at that image and you can kind of roll with it. And actually, I picked the first vignette. Day motions,
Oh, they're awesome.
grows itself as on a vine, begins to seep inside its deep purple skin. A merlot, a moondrop, in agreement, juices the night, reddish for light, as parts of each other are so sweet. Yeah, I thought that was, I love those first two stanzas, and I thought they were nicely done. So, nice job, Becky. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. So good job.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Jean. And yes, I do think that because there isn't like these bunch of added details, like this is a close-up painting of grapes on the vine, I think it does lend itself beautifully to being open to many interpretations.
Right.
So,
Well, the first comment on there um, kind of summed it up, and Betty told him he was right. But Betty, listen to me. What the hell is that? Becky told him that he was actually right. So I didn't read that deep into it. I know what I liked, and I thought it related well to the image. So it's all good. Okay.
absolutely.
This next piece is called This Is Me by Monty G. 25. And I have an audio for this. So let me hit the button.
Shuffle your feet around, bring a little abracadabra, get your feet off the ground. You know
Thank you, Monty, for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. This is a fun, clever, and entertaining write. It's interesting to me how him and Ed both wrote to the same prompt, and they both stepped out of the box, but in totally different ways. Um, I can see that Monty had a lot of fun with this one. You know, he's always got his some really awesome rhyme and flow. You see him using a lot of clever uses of song titles like Abracadabra, YMCA, I Will Survive. This one definitely has a personality that's all its own. The music choice was great. It definitely had that swinging rock and roll vibe to it. It felt, I don't know, it just was really uplifting, and fun lines throughout. But I did especially like all those troubles just ain't not gonna be here to stay anymore. Your mind's Congress is pushing them out the door while you're moving in a groove, and sing out loud, I will survive, sing it, I can get you out of my head, I'm staying alive. That is just fabulous and fun. And I like how this speaks on the idea that music and dancing can really change your mood and your mindset. So, very well done by Monty G. Point 25.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was a nice piece and a fun take on the prompt. I thought it was a clever job. And I liked all the little Easter eggs he had in there, too. There were a bunch of different song titles. And if not, there was like a lean towards a song title. And I thought that was pretty clever. And I picked up the first two stanzas. Folks, it's time to find the groove in the heart tonight, because we're going to dance to your heart's delight. Yeah, I want you dancing queens to shuffle your feet around. Bring a little abracadabra. Get your feet off the ground. You know, sweet dreams is for twisting steps like these. You got to feel the love tonight if you please. An itty bitty bit of uptown funk is going to take us to Mars. Just swinging and swaying to them groovy bars. I did. I thought this was kind of pretty clever. So nice job, Monty, and thanks for sharing with us. Enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Great comment, Jean.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Moss in Memory. Do me a favor. Could you shut off your camera? Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Okay, let me put this next piece up. Okay, Pam, this one here is by Julie Buck. And this is called
Ah,
When Dreams Surpass Real Life by Julie Buck.
all right. Mountains on the horizon, silent, so silent. Though many claim to hear them call, they called my name back in July. I didn't answer, was eating humble pie. In the forefront live in the forefront lives me amongst brown barren trees, isolated, desolate, fruitless, like any waste.
Okay. Pam, I cannot hear you.
How perhaps greenery lives there. I was out to destroy myself, and you can't seem to put that in your head. Listen, I don't even hear some of the things I've said. I'm not that fertile either. I guess I dream in excess. My dreams surpass real life movies in my mind. While I sleep are better. Time for me to send my life. a nice little Dear John letter and poem.
Pam, I hate to tell you this, but you cut out on about two stanzas.
Oh no, which,
Yeah.
um,
Well, doesn't matter
do you
because
want
you're
me?
not going back and just read those. Which could I get you to read it again? I'm sorry.
Sure, sure,
Tried to tell you I couldn't
absolutely.
hear you, but I don't think
All
you
right.
heard me.
Uh, and you can hear me all right now?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So this is When Dreams Surpass Real Life by Julie Buck. Mountains on the horizon, so silent, so silent. Though many claim to hear them call, they called my name back in July. I didn't answer, was eating humble pie. In the forefront lives me, amongst brown, barren trees, isolated, desolate, fruitless, like any wasteland, like any deserted terrain. It's disturbing to see. Sallow, yellow, drab land. It makes me squirm. Ripples of reflection shimmer, but I refuse to refute. Focus on those mountains, how perhaps greenery lives there. I was out to destroy myself, and you can't seem to put that in your head. Listen, I don't even hear some of the things I've said. I'm not that fertile either. I guess I dream in excess. My dreams surpass real life. Movies in my mind while I sleep are better. Time for me to send my life a nice little Dear John letter and poem.
Nice job, Pam. Nice job. Yeah,
Oh, thank goodness.
I don't know what it was. Like I said, I tried to say I can't hear you, Pam, but I wasn't yelling, so I figured you probably couldn't hear me. This is a nice piece by Julie. The image itself is very barren looking, very empty. Um, so I could see why she went the direction that she did. And I picked it up here, sallow yellow drab land. It makes me squirm. Ripples of reflection shimmer, but I refuse to refute. Focus on those mountains now, how perhaps greenery lives there. I was out to destroy myself. You can't seem to put that in your head. Listen, I don't even hear some of the things I've said. I'm not that fertile either. I guess I dream in excess. My dreams surpass real life. Movies in my mind while I sleep are better. That last line, time for me to send my life, a nice little Dear John letter. Like a parting of the ways. I'm not sure how you part from yourself, but I get it. I get the concept behind it. So nicely done, Julie, and a good take on that prompt. I think it was pretty clever. Well done.
Oh, absolutely. I have to agree. Yeah, feel like she definitely picked up on the metaphorical loneliness featured in this landscape that feels like so barren and distant.
Hmm.
And I like how she connects it with human emotion. Um, really great first person narrative, an excellent write that speaks to me on escapism, sleep as escape, a sense of escaping, and, someone who's dissatisfied with their life, dissatisfied with who they are. Really strong visceral imagery and metaphors throughout, and I like the raw honesty in this, especially where it says, um, like any wasteland, like any deserted terrain, it's disturbing to see. Sallow, yellow, drab land, it makes me squirm. Ripples of reflection shimmer, but I refuse to refute. And I think that can be very true for when it comes to
Well, Pam, you're silent again. I don't know if it's your
like
Wi-Fi. or what it is.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, we lost you again. Sorry. If you're talking now, my recommendation is to go out and come back because I cannot hear a word you're saying at all. Crazy stuff. My guess is it's her Wi-Fi connection. She's back. Hello, Pam.
hello. I am back.
Yes, I heard you. I heard you go as you came in.
You didn't hear the click? Yep. Yep.
Yep.
You know, that same thing happened to me last night. I was in the middle of commenting or doing something, and Rex was like, Pam, Pam, are you on mute? Are you on mute? And I was like, finally, I just hung up and came back. So, I thought, well, I should probably do the same thing here,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
But yeah, an amazing write by Julie Buck, and very well done. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, the next piece I have is Grapes of the Vineyard by Bookworm Dave 227. So, here we go. Akai, gazing at the skies and his vineyards. He grew his grapes taken from the mountains of Europe. Wild grapes, pondering if those grapes would grow in this region of Japan. Shunji, his son, assured him he was a soil scientist. They will grow. The volcanic soil will enrich the flavor of the wine. These grapes were sweet, but not overly so. Some would be consumed as grapes, others raisins, but most were for wine. As the sun settled that warm spring day, there was a sigh. Winter was brutal, but we did not lose any vines. Grapes will give us wealth we lost so many years ago. As the smells of spring hit their noses, pollen from the plum and apple trees, growing fruit as a great idea, they both bowed to the sun, thanking a divinity they could not name. Some spoke of a Western idea or ideal of carrying God. Both were open to the idea. But Japan has not had that influence for many centuries. Both heard of Paul of Hiroshima, a Catholic saint who died for his faith. There were several lifetimes that was several lifetimes ago. Akai said with a sadness in his voice, back the crops, we will go to America and get the oak barrels. So let us prepare for our business trip. And this is how wine came to be in this village, offering it to the monks as a token of appreciation. End poem.
Great read there, Jean. What a wonderful story told by Bookworm Dave 227. I have to say, I really like his attention to detail. I like how he speaks on the history of winemaking. I've not heard of Paul of Hiroshima. I did try to just look him up. Paul, I always think of like Paul of Tarsus, who was originally named Saul, who was blinded on his way to the road and then converted. I'm not aware that he was ever in Japan, though. I could be wrong. I don't get me wrong. It's not like I have the Bible memorized. I could have missed the passage where he went to Japan. But I was also thinking there are a lot of Catholic saints, so and it very well could be. I think this is something I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on. Of course, it's always possible that Bookworm Dave took poetic liberties, and as poets, we are allowed to do this. I think this is such a treat for the senses. I really like how he delves into the soil science. Shunji, his son, assured him he was a soil scientist. They will grow. The volcanic soil will enrich the flavor of the wine, and that is very true. The chemical, or not chemical, I don't know if that's the right word, but the makeup of the soil will very much affect the layers and the flavors of the wine. I also like that he brings other fruits in besides the grapes, because there's a lot of really delicious wines. Like I know this area here, we're really known for our cranberry marshes, and so cranberry wine is a very famous one in Wisconsin and other areas around here. But yeah, I like how it shows an appreciation for wine and the idea of how it both wine and beer was an important part of cultures all over the world.
Right.
So excellent write and very well done by Bookworm Dave 227.
I put something up in LNP for you, Pam, about Paul of Hiroshima. I
All
think
right.
I looked it up as Saint Paul of Hiroshima, so I think that's what.
Aha. That
But
makes sense.
I thought this was a nice story told by Dave, a great take on the prompt. These grapes were sweet, but not overly so. Some would be consumed as grapes, others raisins, but most were for wine. As the sun settled in the warm spring day, there was a sigh. Winter was brutal, but we did not lose any vines. Grapes will give us wealth we lost so many years ago. As the smells of spring hit their noses, pollen from the plum and apple trees, growing fruit as a great idea, they both bowed to the sun, thanking a divinity they could not name. Some spoke of the Western idea or ideal of a caring God. Both were open to the idea. But Japan has not had that influence for many centuries. Both heard of Paul of Hiroshima, a Catholic saint who died for his faith. That was several lifetimes ago, Akai said with sadness in his voice. I thought it was a nice touch and a good take on that prompt, actually. So very nicely done, Dave, and thank you for sharing with us.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Jean. And thank you so much for looking up that information. I love that I learned something new. And it makes so much more sense to search this person as Saint Paul of Hiroshima. Because, yeah, I was not putting in the right search, but that is really great information and really adds to the layers of the story.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let me see now. Okay. Oh, I think I want to peek at something real quick. Okay, just had to check it out. Oh my gosh, I get a little crazy. I should have had you tell us about Paul of Hiroshima or Hiroshima while I was looking. But here we go. This is called Ripening Together by Kathy Cross. So whenever you're ready, Miss Pam.
All right. Getting back to where I need to be. And she walked the morning path today, where grapevines climbed the wooden trellis. Early beads of dew still lay on leaves fanned out like umbrellas. There in the hush beneath the shade, leaves casting beams of green light, cradled a nest of twigs and spray with eggs blue speckled and bright. Day by day the grapes did swell into beads that gathered in bunches, and tiny wings broke through their shell, all beaks and bodies like sponges. As summer passed, the vine gripped tight, tendrils held each bunching mass. Mother bird kept pace in flight, fledglings growing steady and fast. By harvest time, the bunches hung in the nest, small wings unfurled, vine and nest giving their young sweet gifts released for the world. End poem.
Nice read, Pam. This is a great poem by Kathy Cross. Uh, I love how she had the nest with eggs running a parallel with the grapevines. Both maturing and you know becoming ready to pick or ready to fly off. And I thought that was really a nice touch to this. There's good imagery in it. Um, I guess I'll pick it up here. I mean, I really could pick it up at the beginning, middle, near the end. It's all good. But day by day the grapes did swell into beads that gathered in bunches, and tiny wings broke through their shells, all beaks and bodies like sponges. As summer passed, the vine gripped tight, tendrils held each bunching mass. Mother bird kept pace in flight, fledglings growing steady and fast. I could have taken the next stanza as well, but I just thought she did a really lovely job with this. I loved how, like I say, I love how she ran that parallel, and I think it was well done. So thank you for sharing with us tonight, Kathy Cross.
Absolutely. Great comment there, Jean. Yeah, this is beautiful. I enjoy the slant rhyme in some of the stanzas. I feel like this has a really nice flow, wonderful imagery. I like how she simultaneously writes about the growth of the grapes and the growth of the baby birds, and shows us at the end that these are both gifts from nature, both the sweetness of the fruit and the songs of the birds. Each one of these adds something to our lives and is really truly a blessing. And I really like that she doesn't make any one more important than the other. There's great lines throughout, but I do have to say, I did especially like those last two stanzas. Beautifully written and very well done by Kathy Cross. I'm glad that she was inspired by that artwork.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that was a good take on that prompt. That is for sure. Okay. The next piece that I am going to put up is called Barren Vessel, The Last Painting by Saiku. Bloated with crimson hue, the horizon as if bled for the aridity clung to this life, barely light up the eyes within a ring of darkness. Yet those hollows dare to swallow that sight amidst clouds far from reach. Despite dead bodies just beneath its gaze, it conjures all fallen dreams in a marshy pit, and they stood there with a strong root underneath, as if the scattered statues of barrenness rise for a lie that shines in the high. The piercing silence around the thorny land blankets all the path that might reach the fire that soul was searching for, brought upon an elusive tranquility around the tired feet, cupping my ears with dirges as if sang for the myriad loss that life had played with. Too much to ease the journey through the murky puddle, rooting out if one, three more would rise, to fill the gaps in the maze, a deliberate conflict within the bloated mind of a dead man that dared to imagine a thought that fly through the fire pit, to merge in the hue of the crimson sky. Stroked with shaky brush, the canvas got spiked to hold it horizon high. Bleeding though, it carries the peace of a muted heart, confined to desolate painting of an impaled meadow before the mountain range in a dusky light. End poem.
Wonderful read there, Jean. And what a beautiful write by Saiku. I have to say, this is a new name to me, so I'm very glad that she was inspired. I do look forward to reading more of her. This has such wonderful imagery, and I think this could have been connected with a couple of the different paintings, but I like I can definitely see the connection with her chosen prompt. That painting actually reminds me like of the town that I grew up in. Not completely grew up, but the majority of my childhood, the town that I lived in. There was an area where there was a huge fire, and so for most of my life, that it was just it looked a lot like that image. It was very barren. Now it's all grown back. Like now, if you were to drive past that particular spot, you wouldn't have been able to tell that there had been a fire. But the whole time I was growing up, it was just, you could tell that, it was a slow process for nature to renew itself. I like that she saw the emotional impact of the artwork. This has powerful lines, amazing imagery and metaphors, and I like how it speaks on the idea of sometimes in silence we face the ugliness of life, and it can be a very difficult journey. And I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially liked "too much to ease the journey through that murky puddle, rooting out if three more would rise to fill the gaps in the maze, a deliberate conflict within the bloated mind of a dead man that dared to imagine a thought that fly through the fire pit to merge in the hue of the crimson sky." Amazing lines and very well done.
Okay, Pam, you got to help me out here. Which prompt did you attribute it to? Just so I know.
She said "the last painting"
Did
in
she?
her
Okay,
title.
because I
So I attributed it to the last painting in the contest.
gotcha. I didn't. You know what? I guess I just blew past that. You know. Okay, I'll go with that. I was actually thinking it was probably prompt five.
I think prompt 5 is one of those that also works really well with it.
Right, right,
As well as I also think prompt 8 could work with it too.
right. Because I looked at all three with the trees and I thought, well, which one is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I thought the last painting was part of the title. What do I know? Ah, goes to show how smart I am. But I thought it was a good write, and it had a lot of intriguing imagery throughout. That one about, well, there's two of them. There's one about the deliberate conflict with the bloated mind of a dead man. That was one. And then the other one was, despite dead bodies just beneath its gaze, it conjures all fallen dreams in a marshy pit. And they stood there with a strong root underneath, as if the scattered statues of barrenness rise for a lie that shines in the high. So, I mean, there were some really strong images throughout. So I thought that was pretty good. But there was a lot going on in it and very nicely done. So, well done and a great share. So thank you very much for sharing with us, Saiku. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. You better tap dance a little bit.
I'm tap dancing to the sound of your typing.
Well,
It's just, too bad we can't have cameras on. Everybody would be so entertained.
I know. I know. I know, I know.
Me and my camouflage nightgown tap dancing. Just what everybody wants to see.
Right?
Yeah. Oh man.
You
But
know,
yeah,
many times as I have written that last line, I cannot talk when I'm writing it. I cannot.
I get that. I get that. I don't actually, when I'm talking, I very rarely expect you to respond. I mean, I shouldn't say very rarely. I just mean when you are typing and I'm talking, I don't expect a response because I also cannot type and talk at the same
I
time.
used to be able
Uh,
to. I cannot anymore. I
yeah,
guess it
yeah,
means old.
well, at least you used to be able to. It is definitely a skill I never had. But I've
Yeah.
also never been a good typer, so it's always been something that's taken
I I
all
remember
my focus.
I remember one night I was over in the AOL chat room and I'm typing this poem, right? I come up with this idea and I'm typing and typing and typing. And somebody came in and they started to talk to me. And I kid you not, I typed the entire poem and held a full conversation simultaneously. And I'm still not quite sure how I managed it because you can see I remembered it. I'm like, how did I do that? Now I can't type my name and say my name at the same time. It's like whatever. So
Right? Oh, I get that. I really do. But I would have been very impressed with that. Would have been impressive to see
yeah,
because
honest to God, I did. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was up from the whole night before, and I'm just typing away. And how are you? And going back and and how? Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And back and forth. And I did the whole damn thing. I was like, that was pretty amazing. That was when I was young. That was when I was young, young. I tell you, young. But what are you going to do? Okay, Pam. This next poem I'm going to put up is called "Skeletal Witnesses" by Zane VB. Whenever you are ready.
all right. Blood Mountains had not yet agreed to be silenced. Below them, skeletal witnesses kept watch over molten memory. Nothing moved, not because the world had ended, but because something wilder had entered. Even the horizon looked away. A procession, remembering how to disappear. No birds, no echoes, only the hush after names had forgotten who first spoke them. There is a solitude that frightens even stone. No one has named what happened here. Nothing escapes, not even air. End poem.
Wow, what a nice piece. I think it again. These tree images are pretty inspiring from what we're seeing tonight. There's been quite a few. That and the grapes, but I like the way she started this out. Blood Mountains had not yet agreed to be silenced because when you look at the image, that's what you see are those red mountains in the background. Um, but I think that this was it had a tone to it that I really liked. I picked it up here. Nothing moved, not because the world had ended, but because something wilder had entered. Even the horizon looked away, a procession remembering how to disappear. No birds, no echoes, only the hush after names had forgotten who first spoke them. There's a solitude that frightens even stone. It just has this really strong. I don't want to say it's an ominous tone to it, but it's definitely something that makes you stop and think about it. And I enjoyed that part very much. So nice job, Zane VB, and great take on that prompt. I liked the piece very much. Well done.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have to agree. Wonderful comment there, Jean. Yeah, this is a beautifully atmospheric piece that connects really well with the artwork. Like you can see that she gets imagery from the artwork, like with the mention, as you were saying, of blood mountains. This actually made me think of volcanoes releasing lava onto the landscape. So I was curious and went and looked up volcanoes in Japan, and I got this. Japan is one of the most volcanically active countries in the world, with over 100 active volcanoes shaped by its position on multiple tectonic plate boundaries, which is really interesting considering that, Japan isn't a huge country. But this has really powerful lines, amazing imagery. I like how it speaks on the idea of nature as a force to be reckoned with. Um, it also did make me, and maybe this is because it's mention of Japan, even though I know Hiroshima was a big city, it does make me think of the bomb released on Hiroshima. But I think whether you see it as a volcano, which is more what I lean towards, or a bomb, either way, it speaks on destruction. It speaks on silence that comes after the destruction, and how everything changes, even the air. And I thought this really just had amazing lines throughout. But I especially liked it from even the horizon looked away to honestly the very end. Um, so much said in only 78 words.
Right.
Very well done.
Absolutely. Okay. This next piece I'm going to put up is called I Hope That Hurts by T. Manzano. I watch them as the sun turns, everything soft and dull, twisting their torsos into catapults, whipping nets out to the edge of their strength, wisps of spray lingering behind them, catching what's left of the light, the orange-red going gray at the edges. The water takes the net, the way dusk takes everything, quietly without giving anything back. And if it comes, the rope biting into palms, shoulders folding forward, like a man remembering how to pray. Not for the fish, not really, for the net not coming up empty. And yet they stand there, rubbing the ache into their forearms, not to soothe it, but to know it's theirs, proof that they reached for something, even as, somewhere behind them, the sun finishes leaving. End poem.
Great read, Jean. This is such a wonderful write by T. Manzano. I'm glad he was inspired. Another one who really just connected well and with the painting of the fish in the net, and saw the potential within the artwork, for bringing out the realm of human emotion. I like how he writes on, like, this feels very spiritual, as it writes about hunger and hope and prayers being fulfilled. I like how it's can be taken both literal and metaphorical. Like, if you think about the idea of how many places are in this world, including Japan, where fishing is such an important part of people's life, of their feeding their families, of them earning a living, but also it feels metaphorical too, when it says, and if it comes, the rope biting into palms, shoulders folding forward, like a man remembering how to pray, not for the fish, not really, for the net not coming up empty. Like, that feels like it could also be the idea of when it went too oftentimes when we pray, we find ourselves forgetting to pray for other people's needs and only praying for ourselves. I did think this had strong lines throughout, and I liked also where it says, and yet they stand there rubbing the ache into their forearms, not to soothe it, but to know it's theirs, proof that they reached for something. I like that, how that speaks on the idea that it's, to me anyways, that it's wonderful to pray, it's wonderful to have hope, but how you truly get things is by working for them. and like you do your part and just hope and pray for the best. Wonderful lines and very well done by T. Manzano.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought this was a great job by Tim. Wonderful take on the prompt and such great imagery. Uh, I picked it up here. The water takes the net, the way dusk takes everything, quietly without giving anything back. And if it comes, the rope biting into palms, shoulders folding forward, like a man remembering how to pray. Not for fish, not really, for the net not coming up empty. And yet they stand there, rubbing the ache into their forearms, not to soothe it, but to know it's theirs, proof that they reach for something, even as somewhere behind them the sun finishes leaving. Yeah, this is a great piece. So thank you for sharing with us tonight, Tim. Wonderful job. Hmm.
Absolutely. Great comment, Jean. And I tell you, it's wasn't a huge response to the contest, but it's not going to be an easy one to judge because there's just so many great writes.
Absolutely. Okay, Pam, here we go. This one's called Hold My Own by Dijo. So whenever you are ready.
All right. It's a quieter knowing my body holds. I used to keep my nose pressed to the goal, so close that my periphery was only roads. I never understood how a person could be so sure in the direction they were going, but be so anxious inside the lulls. I kayaked this week and floated on a lake of glass, the clouds on a mirror of stillness superimposed. I was jealous of water and the adaptability it knows. The sky opened, and I watched the raindrops land like ripples of Morse code. And still it held me, even if the reflection was blurred. It's slow learning to see, to know, to breathe, to unlearn. I'm listening more now with my eyes, my mind, my body, learning that stillness isn't the absence of direction, that not every pause is asking to be escaped. End poem.
Mm, nice read, Pam. This is a good piece. I went over and I looked at the two prompts. For prompt 4 and prompt 10. And I thought, this is pretty decent. The one took me to, I kayaked this week and floated on a lake of glass, the clouds on a mirror of stillness superimposed. I was jealous of water and the adaptability it knows. The sky opened and I watched the raindrops land like ripples of Morse code. And still it held me, even if the reflection was blurred. It's slow learning to see, to know, to breathe, and to unlearn. And I really wanted to take it down to the bottom, but I said, well, if I do that, Pam will beat me. So, it was very well done, and I think that there was great imagery and thought throughout the piece. So, very well done, Dijo, and thank you for sharing with us tonight. Well done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment, Jean. Yeah. Dijo is a new name to me. I'm very glad they were inspired. I look forward to reading more of them. This has such wonderful imagery, captivating lines that have a really meditative flow to them and a great consistency in tone. I like that this poem reminds us that stillness is very important. Silence is very important. And to someone like me, who's especially right now with dealing, not able to do as much walking as I usually do, this is actually a really nice reminder for me that there can be a usefulness in taking time to be still, to not always be constantly moving. And I like how in the last two stanzas, they bring in the different senses. It's slow learning to see, to know, to breathe, to unlearn. Yeah, I'm listening more now with my eyes, my mind, my body, learning that stillness isn't the absence of direction, that not every pause is asking to be escape. It also makes you realize that well, oftentimes when we live life, we want to be on to the next big goal, the next big adventure. And it's like that idea of it's okay to be in that time period where everything feels settled, where you don't feel like you have to hurry on to whatever the next grand part of your life is going to be. So wonderful, right, by D. Joan. Very well done.
Mhm. Okay. Well, this next piece I'm going to put up is called The Mountain Peak by Bass. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce this. So, Bass. Uh, so let me give this one a read. The cold whispers in my ears. I'm sitting on the mountain peak, running tears cooling my face. I squint as the sun slowly rises. Woke in the middle of the night, our time together blurred like a dream, vanishing from reality's grasp as I wait a new day's first light. I took it with you, the leap over the canyon of not believing, and I've always felt comfortable with you behind the driver's seat. Worlds collided when you left. Mine stayed here. The snow gently melts as darkness retreats. I stay here and enjoy the rest. End poem.
Great read there, Jean, and what wonderful inspiration taken from the mountain painting that prompt 6 is with the pink colors. Um, Wonderful imagery and metaphors, great lines throughout. This has it's definitely it's not a religious poem, but it feels spiritual to me. I like how it speaks on the idea of connecting with nature. Um, I also like how it looks at the idea of the dreaming mind, and I feel like especially that second stanza, woke in the middle of the night, our time together blurred like a dream, vanishing from reality's grasp as I wait a new day's first light. Like there's not only that idea of the transition between being awake and being wake dreaming and waking, but also the transition of going through changes in your life, like changes perhaps in relationships. I feel like there's this idea of, you know, I don't know, there it almost feels like um the wanting things to be the same, but knowing that there's going to be change, and that change isn't necessarily a bad thing. I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like the second and third stanzas. So very well done by Bias, which is also a new name to me. Um, Wonderful to see another new name. I'm very glad they were inspired. And thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought this was nicely penned. Great lines all the way through, and a clever take on the prompt as well. Very well done. I, let me see what I picked because I was looking. Obviously there's sadness in that first stanza. I picked up the third and fourth. I took it before with you, the leap over the canyon of not believing, and I've always felt comfortable with you behind the driver's seat. Worlds collided when you left. Mine stayed here. The snow gently melts as darkness retreats. I stay here and enjoy the rest. Um, you know, Obviously in the beginning there's a sadness that runs in there, and then we woke in the middle of the night. Our time together blurred like a dream, vanishing from reality's grasp as I wait a new day's first light. You know, it's definitely a solemn piece of loss, and very well done. So thank you, Bias, for sharing with us tonight. And I don't think it's Bias, I think. I don't know. But um, yeah, nice job. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's just base. I don't know. I spend too much time thinking about it. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, Pam, here I come with the next one. This piece is called Written First in Ash by Moss and Memory. So
I
whenever
have
you,
no idea how that would be pronounced.
I, well, that was 5 minutes ago. This one's easy. It's Moss and Memory and Written First in Ash. Yes.
All right, and my turn to read, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Stags stand like ghosts, bleached sentinels before the fire-born mountain, choked in stagnant water and thin alpine air, a memory of fire crossed by the traces of travelers passing through, footprints fading one after another, sulfur-stained curtains drifting across the mountains, fire-scored scars, while beneath the snags new roots take hold, where ash becomes soil unseen. The mountain waits, destroyer and keeper of seeds. It answers by breaking and beginning again. Travelers passing through dust to break and begin again. As time recalls the story written first in ash, fire becoming forest. End poem.
Nice read, Pam. It's a nice piece, well written, and a nice take on that prompt. Um, you know, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. Gosh, do I want to pick the first one? I don't know. Well, I want to start with the second one. Footprints fading one after another. Sulfur stained curtains drifting across the mountains, fire scored scars. While beneath the snags, new roots take hold, where ash becomes soil unseen. The mountain waits, destroyer and keeper of seeds. It answers by breaking and beginning again. Travelers passing through dust, to break and begin again. As time recalls the story, written first in ash, fire becoming forest. You know, it reminded me of where they um, people will go in and they'll start a fire on a stretch of land so that the land can renew itself and begin again. And that's what I got from the right itself, is that's where it took me. And I thought it was very nicely written and nicely done. Definitely a good, as I said, a good take on the prompt, and I think it was nicely said. So thank you so much, Moss and Memory. Great piece.
Oh, I have to agree. Absolutely. Sorry about that. There was this long enough quiet space where I thought you were done commenting, but I like what you had to say because I saw a lot of the same thing, the idea of the renewal that happens. How oftentimes fire, it can be started purposely, but it's also um a part of the natural process. Like, this is what happens. I do think it speaks very well on balance between life and death. It also reminds us that we leave our own imprints upon the trails and the lands that we walk. This actually did make me think of the wildfires, not only in Canada but also the ones going on in Colorado. Um, and I like how she shows us the importance of the mountain itself, and also the importance of how the both the fire and our own choices, like it, you know, that second stanza with the mention of footprints fading one after another, it makes me think of the idea of lands and trails once walked, and how we treat that land um, has a huge impact. I also really like how there is that connection to the fire and the mountain, and I really like the mountain waits, destroyer and keeper of seeds. It answers by breaking and beginning again. What an amazing write in those lines on the idea that sometimes in order to find renewal, something first has to be broken. Excellent write and very well done by Mawson Memory.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me get over to the right spot over here. And this next piece I'm going to put up is, I'm getting scared. This one's called The Lightning Inside Me for Your Daughter by Yumpy. So, okay. Sometimes the world goes hush too loud, like clouds are whispering way too proud, and colors spin like tops gone wild inside the quiet of a child. One moment I'm the breeze, the sky, the next stars behind my eyes. My hands forget what they should do. My legs don't dance, they drift askew. I don't remember falling down, just buzzing bees and spinning ground. Faces blur and glowing white, then mommy holds me through the night. It isn't sleep, it isn't play. It steals a piece of me each day. A flash, a storm, a hidden fright that flickers deep behind my sight. Please don't be sad if I can't stay. What happened to me yesterday? Oh, no. Please don't be sad if I can't say what happened to me yesterday. Just sit behind me, hum a song, your voice my anchor, soft and strong. But when it's done, I'm still right here, my heart still brave despite the fear. I hold your hand and will not fall, a lion's heart despite it all. There's lightning living in my brain, but I still laugh, I don't complain. A world of wonder with each stride, a lovely child with storms inside. End poem.
Great read there, Jean. And what an amazing write by Yumpy. I'm glad he shared this with us. Thank you very much. I peeked at the AN and saw that, and I probably would have guessed this anyways, but he says his poem was written for a contest focused on understanding a child's experience with epilepsy. And since I have epilepsy and I've had it since I was 6 years old, and I've been very fortunate the last 20 years that I have been on medication that has been under control. But when I was a child, there wasn't as many options. And I was having seizures on a weekly basis. And there are children, there are people who have seizures on an hourly basis. And I can't even imagine that, because like I can relate to so much of the imagery in this, so much of the emotion in this. Like this one, because I personally relate to it, because I, as a child, I went through a lot of this. This one really emotionally has an impact on me. Amazing imagery and metaphors, powerful lines. I like how he writes about how um, seizures can affect childhood. Like you can't play like normal children. You try to, and you do find moments of happiness. You do find ways to be strong, but it is a struggle. And great lines throughout, but I especially like, I don't remember falling down, just buzzing bees and spinning ground, faces blur and glowing white, then mommy holds me through the night. It isn't sleep, it isn't play, it steals a piece of me each day. A flash, a storm, a hidden fright that flickers deep behind my sight. Wonderful lines and very well done by Yumpy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought that this was a great write. Of course, the rhyme and meter were spot on. I thought it was very well said, the thoughts from the mind of a child. Um, they can't really say, what all's going on or how they feel or whatever. And I think it was well captured in this. And, you already quoted the line about the buzzing bees. And I don't remember falling down. That stanza I thought was very good. I Yeah, there's so many great stanzas in this. It isn't sleep, it isn't play, it steals a piece of me each day. A flash, a storm, a hidden fright that flickers deep behind my sight. Please don't be sad if I can't say what happened to me yesterday. Just sit beside me, hum a song, your voice, my anchor, soft but strong. Really, this was very well done, and I could have started at the top and read it all the way through to the bottom. I think it was just a really great capture here. So excellent job, Yumpy, and thank you for sharing with us. Um, just a really good piece. Uh,
Absolutely.
okay. Um, yeah, I'm getting
Yeah,
quicker.
I have to agree. He said he did his research. And that's what I thought. I thought either Yumpy knows, has experienced personally, or, he knows somebody with epilepsy as a child, or he did his research because his
Right.
attention to detail is great in
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah. And his last line of his author's notes. My hope is that it fosters empathy and awareness for children facing these unseen battles every day. And yeah, I think there's a lot of hope for that. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
Amen to that.
from your lips to God's ears. That's what I'll say.
Absolutely.
Okay. And our last poem for tonight will be. Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff being said over there, and I'm missing it all. Gosh, it's terrible. Just kidding. Okay, this is called A Village Beneath the Mountains by Pam Ray. Pam Ray, do you think you could read this for Pam Ray?
I can, but just to give you a heads up, this is not our last poem. I think you just need to refresh the topic board because there is a write by Lena 61, and that will be, if that's okay with
Well,
you,
I
our
just,
last poem, or
I,
did that?
oh, it's above Yumpy's. Okay, sorry, I didn't see it.
No
Okay,
problem. I did the same thing last night. I accidentally skipped over somebody and fit them in at the end. But yes, this is my poem. Mountain shadows rise, the birds sing of summer winds, soaring blood orange skies. Dancers are swaying, gentle music fills the air, stories of movement. Farmers gather rice, plucking the fruit from the vines. Souls will find comfort. Fish caught in rivers, an abundance of blessings. The cat's belly is full. People storing food, beans gathered from the gardens, food preserved in jars. Cycles of seasons, balance between life and death, bare branches reaching. People young and old, a village that is complete. Comfort in nature, history in art, stories shared around the hearth, life in shades and hues. Spirits of the land speak to those who will listen. Wisdom grows from seeds. End poem. And as you probably can tell, I actually pretty much wrote to all the artwork. Yep.
hmm yeah, I saw that down in your author's notes because what's the prompt? But this looks like you not only used the prompts, but you went off the grid with the prompts, which is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they call ekphrastic poetry, right? See how smart I am? I probably said it wrong, but same idea. Um, Farmers gather rice, plucking the fruit from the vines. I assume that's the grapes. Souls will find comfort. Fish caught in rivers, people storing food, beans gathered from the gardens, food preserved in jars. I mean, there's wonderful imagery in this poem. Um, and as with so many of the pieces tonight, they're mostly all standalone pieces. I like the fact that you stepped outside of just the images and you added to it, and you pulled them together with other, what do I want to say, you embellished the pieces and pulled them together as one. You made it more unified, and I like that. You just have so much in here. Um, Cycles of seasons, balance between life and death, bare branches reaching, young people young and old, a village that is complete comfort in nature, history and art, stories shared around the hearth, life in shades and hues. I mean, it's just great, great lines, one after the next, over the next, and I think it's just a wonderful piece. And like I always say, you're such a great storyteller, and that's what this comes across as. It comes across as a story, in poetry form. And I like that. So very well done, Pam. Very well done.
Thank you very much. And yes, I do like to step out of the grid,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to art that doesn't have necessarily people in it.
Right.
I like to put in those people, like the people fishing and the farmers, and bring forth the life, the aspects of the artwork that aren't necessarily seen.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah,
And
but
as I
thank
say,
you.
it's definitely a great ekphrasis piece. And that's when you take the image and you make more for it, like you build it up. And I think that that's always fun to see. Um, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Let me finish my statement. Yes,
All right.
I even
Thank
see
you
the
for
thing.
sharing with us, Pam. And then I will respond. Thank you, my friend.
I know, See, I say the same thing to Pam. Don't anybody think I don't? And it's thank you for sharing with us tonight. Always. I try to be consistent. I just don't want to forget to say thank you to anybody. Okay, so this next piece, which is not the last piece, well, it is the last piece. It's actually 3 pieces ago, but it's okay. We got this. This is called Sherbert Sky. Sherbert Skirs? I think it's supposed to be Sherbert Skies by Lena 61. That would be my luck, though, that I'm saying it wrong now. Okay, let me put it up again because now all of a sudden everything's acting wonky. Okay. Sherbert Skies by Lena 61. Bloodshot eyes accompanied the wailing cries. They dripped from sherbet skies. The mountain whispered to nectarine dreams, crashed into the deepest, swollen bellies of surging streams. Cotton candy clouds softened sandy horizon, tainted with whipped cream. The sunshine tasted sweet, not like the patches left behind after storms that were sour. Lilacs and their scent spill into the air, while rain showers refresh. Petals drenched, resurrected flowers. They rise from their tombs, blooming winter's darkest hours. Purple plum, juicy skin, speckled red thighs, azure ink, cobalt mint, and freckled eyes caught by a surprise. As my iris became the lens, I waltzed through the sugar cookie quarantine, riddled with rainbow sprinkle whoopie pies. I drank it in, the rupture's sin, encrusted jewels, diamond dusted gumdrops. I tasted the world. ingested it within. Serene mystery, syntax in between, the golden yellow hues warm, inflected, washed, subdued, the solar power evaporated, enthralled while you devour, spirited, inflicted, spotted dots, connecting stunning paintings, tinted creases, shown inside, saccharine glide with peaches and pride, and foam.
Great read, Jean, and what an amazing write by Lena 61. Really captivating lines, strong visceral imagery and metaphor. What I find particularly intriguing about this is it's a dark right, and yet there's a sense of juxtaposition with the imagery chosen, like cotton candy cloud, softened sandy horizon, tainted with whipped cream. It's interesting how she's got all this um imagery that feels sweet, that feels beautiful and surreal, but yet at the same time there's so much darkness brought in. I feel like this is one of those poems that to me speaks on the idea of changing perspectives and the idea that things aren't always what they seem. Like you see something as beautiful, you see something as pure, and yet you don't see the layers, you don't see the damage. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like azure ink, cobalt mint, and freckled eyes caught by surprise as my iris becomes the lens. I waltz through a sugar cookie quarantine riddled with rainbow sprinkle whoopie pies. I drank it in the rupture sin encrusted jewels, diamond dusted gumdrops. I tasted the world. I mean, it really just very surreal. And I don't, it's just a wonderful combination of the shadows and the light, and how life and the human mind is far more complex than we give it credit for. So excellent write and very well done by Lena 61.
Right, right. It's funny because, like you say, it has these different. It's like cotton candy clouds, softened sandy horizon, tainted with whipped cream. And it kind of gives you that mixed messages kind of thing. And when I got down to the end, it went shown inside, saccharine glide with peaches and pride. And as soon as I read saccharine glide, my mind just went, ew, I hate saccharin. When I was a kid, my mother used saccharin in her coffee, and I hated that taste, and I always
Oh my
have.
God.
So it all. Some people use that as to mean something sweet. Oh, and I just find it so gross. So when you said it was kind of like, the mixed thoughts there, you know, with some of the lines, I went, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know if that one was intentional, but it's just the way it hit me, like smacked me in the forehead and said, "Oh, I don't think so." Um, Saccharin was some nasty stuff, but I have seen it where people have used it, meaning something sweet. But I thought this was well done, interesting take on the prompts, and intriguing imagery, clever work, throughout. And I picked it up closer to the top, um, where I started. Actually, I started right at the top. Bloodshot eyes accompanied by wailing cries. They dripped from sherbet skies. The mountain whispered to nectarine dreams, crashed into the deepest swollen bellies of surging streams. Cotton candy clouds, softened sandy horizon. Yeah, softened sandy horizon, tainted with whipped cream. The sunshine tasted sweet, not like the patches left behind after storms that were sour. It definitely gives you that kind of back and forth, up and down kind of thought process throughout. So Nicely done, and thank you for sharing with us 2 nights. Hang on, I gotta scroll back up. Lena, 61? 61.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment, Jean. And yeah, I liked your observations on the saccharin, which I think can not only represent sweetness, but represent an artificial sweetness. Like
Yeah,
somebody who puts up a front and acts all nice,
yeah.
but there's a darker truth beneath that.
Yep.
So very cool observations and great show tonight.
Thank you, you too. Nice comments. Jesus God. Nice prompts and good poetry tonight. So, um, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So nice job,
Absolutely.
Pam. Pam's got the rest of the night off. She won't know what to do with herself.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'll probably sleep, but who knows?
I
Who
don't
knows? I might just
know.
get all wild and
You might. Mm.
but yeah, thank you to Yumpy and Moss and Memory and Jojo and Robbie for hanging on the boards and Jeff, and thank you to our YouTube listeners. Thank you to everyone who provided rights for the show, is listening now, or will be listening later. We truly appreciate you all. And of course, make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by Late Night Poets, hosts and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. And have a wonderful night, everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Pam. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.